minute.
Good morning. I'm Dr. Ronald Scott McDowell. I'm from a small town north of San Francisco called Pittsburgh, California. My career achievements have been the Thriller, Michael Jackson Thriller album, where I worked with Michael 9 weeks on doing the cover for the sleeve of the Thriller album. I've worked on 3 movies, Whoopi Goldberg, Sissy Spacek, and Brian, the famous football player, Brian Boswell. Stone Cold, my work is all in that movie. I also am in cameos in The Long Walk Home with Whoopi Goldberg, but that's not my creed in life. My specialty is in art, as being artist. And the statue you see behind me, under the veil, is a statue of the beautiful Miss Coretta Scott King, the wife of the late Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. On embarking on this project, when Mrs. Evelyn Lowry asked me if I would do this for her for the SCLC Women Incorporated out of Atlanta, Georgia, Miss Evelyn E. Lowry asked me to come up with some designs. I drew the designs, did a maquette, which is a small model of it, and she liked it and agreed for me to do it. She came to the foundry and made some changes, and what you'll see today is the result of those changes. But I was blessed and afforded the opportunity to get to know Mrs. King while she was alive on many different occasions that we ran into each other. I even spent time with her at the King Center in Atlanta. And I'm just honored as an artist. There's so many great artists in the world today who would love to have the opportunity to have done this. And I believe this is the first of its kind in America. But I'm honored to do this. And the young lady interviewing me behind the camera, I appreciate her taking the time out to interview me. I am grateful. And thanks again.
When it means restroom. I've done that before.
I think somebody already did that, but it's right around the corner.
Okay.
Like you had the last start, right?
Okay.
What y'all want to say?
Chicken noodle. Chicken noodle.
Y'all all go to church here? They all go to church here?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. All right, so that's the third generation?
This is,
What
yes.
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 All right, and tell me your name.
My name is Kathy McLaughlin, and I am the granddaughter of Henry McLaughlin, who was a member here, and he lived to be 103 years old. And let me see where I can find it. This is him right here. This is Henry. And he was a member of this church until he died at 103 years old.
Okay. You have any other history you want to tell me about?
Some history. Well, Obie Scott, the father of Coretta Scott King, was Henry's niece. Obie Scott was his
Nephew.
nephew. His mother was Obie Scott's sister.
Okay. Good. Thank you.
My name is Willietta Leverett Robertson. I lived in Sprott all of my life. My daddy and mama was the mother and father of 12, lived in church. We worked the cotton fields out of sharecroppers. We picked cotton. Till 1972, the year I graduated from high school. I married in 1975 and I moved to North Marion, where my husband lived all of his life, and joined the Mount Tabor A.M. Design Church, where I worked faithful, where Coretta Scott King, Dr. King, I lived next door to her mother and father, which were very, very respectable and nice people to me. They saw my children grow up right here in this church, and Cousin Bernice, she used to always say, send me the children, send me the children. And my son, he used to go to the store to Conover on Sunday after church, because he knows Conover will go give him something. And I don't think nobody in the world had the best bologna and sour meat as Conover. And I really have to have been living in North Marion, then I got close to the McMurray, which was Irene McMurray, which was next door to me, Mr. McMurray's mother, and I grew very fond of her for a long, long time, because she watched after my house when I was home with her soul life. Then I learned where I grew up in school with the daughter, and I came from the son, Willie McMurray, which reared me, and because my mom and daddy reared me into the lady that I am today. So my history goes on and on and on. My daddy died in 1987. I lost my mom this year in 2007, one day prior to her birthday of 71 years. She buried her son 4 weeks later this year next to me, so I was the only girl for a long, long time. I thought something was wrong for a minute because nobody came home with me, and I was in between about 5 boys. But my mama saw the time when she could come in and tell me I need to come in and stop playing and stop pulling wood and stop throwing wood to learn to cook and be a lady. That's why I am, they chose me at this church as one of the prime women to work as in the kitchen over the food committee as the committee person. So that's what I do. And for going on 23 years, I have served elementary school as a cafeteria worker for that long period of time. And that is all. I am so elated with this thing. I got to know Coretta so well here when she visited us and come home. And the last time I saw her, it was at Lincoln Memorial High School, where I was over the food again serving, and then after that, you know, she passed on. It's been a very inspiration from where I come from to here, because it's pretty much the same thing, because I come up a really, really hard life. Then we tried to own this business here in Marion, well, just a few years ago, and we've had hard times trying to keep it, because the white man really wanted it back. He wanted to take it back. And we had to wind up filing bankruptcy to try to hold it. Let's go right around. We had to wind up filing bankruptcy to try to hold our business while my husband worked all of his entire life. All of his entire life. But now we're hanging, and I believe anytime God has put a man over something, he would not let the devil come in and destroy it. And so we're just trying to hold on, but we do need a lot of financial help, but we're struggling. And this is my roll up on my life and my life here at Mount Tabor Zion Church.
Thank you.
Murray, and I am a cousin to Mrs. King. My father was first cousins with Mrs. King. They were sister and brother's children. So I'm Mrs. King's cousin on her mother's side. Her mother was Bernice Murray. A little bit about the history of the church. Mount Tabor Zion Church was started in 1874 in a Brush Harbor. This is a replica of what the Brush Harbor might have looked like in 1874, complete with minister and church members outside worship. You come down a little bit further, this was a log cabin. This was built in right around the turn of the century. This is what the church would have looked like at that time, built out of old logs, tin, and whatever else they could find to build the church. This whole area, the trees, the fields represent the agriculture. Cotton was primary in the early 1900s. This represents the cotton fields. Even after that, we had many people who were sharecroppers and many people who picked cotton on what they call the handouts. They would take part of the money, and part of it would go to the person who actually owned the property. If you notice right here, this is where they would put it in a sack here, and they would pile it up here as they bagged it, and then on the very back is a scale. Cotton was made, and some people were paid based upon the weight they were able to pick. This represents Mount Tabor Church, and about the 1920s, we had the church bell, which actually still outside. It's just covered. Dinner was served on the church grounds, and people walked the church. There were mules, there were wagons, but there were no cars in this area at that time. A little bit further down, the first store in the North Perry County area of Alabama was Tubbs Grocery. Reverend Tubbs, John Tubbs, was an entrepreneur in the late 1920s, mid to late 1920s. And this represents his store. As you notice, people are sitting on the front porch. The store in this community was a meeting place. So that's, and he probably had the store maybe 20 years later, or a few years later, actually. There was a sawmill. This sawmill was owned by Mrs. King's father, and it was later subsequently burned because of the success. And
who burned it?
Whites in the area burned it.
Okay.
Once he became successful at it, and just to explain sawmills, many of them we were called colors at that time. Many of the colors did the rough log work, which means they prepped it to go to a mill. And then later on, a lot of the white mill owners actually changed it to make it to the point that you would see it in Lowe's or Home Depot. That's actually finished lumber from a mill standpoint. But these guys were actually getting the trees, taking the bark off, and planing it into poles, and then it was transported. Prior to Mr. Scott starting this, it was all done by whites. So he cornered the market a little bit and took a little bit of their business. This is the church from about mid-1930s until about the mid to late 1940s. Stained glass windows. You can see a few older cars. People still walk in the church, and people still, it was a combination at that time. And then, what do you do with the horses when you go to church? Very often, this is a little bit far away, but very often you would kind of tie them. They had tying posts, and they would tie the horses away from the church a little bit. This represents Mrs. King's mother. In the early 1920s, schools, country schools, 1-2-room schoolhouses was all there was in Alabama. And those school terms were about 3 to 4 months. The rest of the time, the children needed to work in the field. That is approximately the number of years in the earliest years. Mrs. King actually attended school 4 to 6 months of the year. The rest of the time, she would have studied books or whatever she could have found to get herself to where she later became. After one completed the 6th grade, there was no other school in this area. Those people then, if your family could afford it, they went to Lincoln High School, which is actually behind us. We'll see that in just a minute. Many of those people boarded, or in early years, they actually had to walk the miles to Marion, and then they came back just to high school. Other than that, the community school was 3 to 4 miles away on average. This represents a lot of the crops that were also grown in the area, and then our table also started in the late 50s, early 60s with the mass meetings, and this is representative of some of the protests. The first protest actually started in Marion, Alabama, and then later on, what you hear most common in history is the 7th of Montgomery March. But a lot of that started in Marion, with many of the meetings originating here in this church. And finally, we wanted to finish out the mural with the poles, because that was so significant for people who did not have the opportunity to vote up until the 60s in many instances. And so once they received the opportunity, they were, the attendance was extremely high, the turnout was extremely high. And that's it with as far as the mural is concerned in the school. This is actually Phillips Memorial Auditorium. This auditorium is where Mrs. King attended high school. She also participated in musical productions here. This is all that's still standing, that's original to when she was here, but this is the actual auditorium. This was laid and donated by many of the students. The materials were donated. The students were actually taught to build the building. So this is in Marion, Alabama. These are some of the graduates from Mount Tabor Church who attended Lincoln School. I want to note two people on the portraits. The lowest gentleman here is Mrs. King's brother. His name is O.B. Scott. And then right here on the end, in the middle, is Mrs. King's older sister, Mrs. Scott Bagley, who both of them attended Lincoln as well. We don't have a picture of Mrs. King with the pose, but they all attended the same schools.
4 great women from Alabama that are represented there. And I fortunately can claim all of them of my Aunt Jean Child Young, Aunt Juanita Abernathy, of course Aunt Coretta, and Aunt Evelyn Lowry. And if you would indulge me for a minute, if we could all stand and give Aunt Evelyn a hand. Because this would not be without her. Oh, I'm sorry. I've just been reminded that is true. My Elm is from Alabama for about 5 years. Oh, wow. It is a great pleasure and an honor for me to be here with you today. I'm definitely honored to be a speaker on the celebration at the church which helped nurture my beloved Coretta Scott King and one of America's greatest advocates for nonviolence, human rights, and peace. In unveiling this monument, we pay tribute to Coretta Scott King's life and legacy here on the holy ground of Mount Tabor AME Church, which she loved so well and which had so much to do with her spiritual awakening and growth. I was raised up in what many feel is an important church in Atlanta, Ebenezer Baptist Church. But I come here today with a sense of overwhelming gratitude to this church and this community, because it was here that my aunt acquired strength, character, and courage, which was instrumental in preparing her to serve as Martin Luther King Jr.'s wife, partner, and soulmate, and which sustained her throughout her journey. This bust we unveiled today is a testament to Coretta Scott King's roots, as well as to her truly remarkable contributions, not just as a wife and partner of Martin Luther King Jr., but as an extraordinary leader in her own right. My uncle was indeed a brilliant man, but I believe the smartest thing he ever did was to marry Coretta Scott. Because in her he found not only a beautiful wife and mother for his children, but a true companion in leading the daunting challenges that they would face together in making history. My aunt would not be intimidated. She was involved and engaged in every campaign of the movement, different ways that we found forward. It was difficult for her state in the she was truly the rock of resilience. She made it possible for Martin Luther King Jr. to do this. And I'm quoting him, I had not had a wife, fortitude, strength, calmness, and Tory, he used to call her. Her imprint is in every brick of King Cena. Her spirit continues to sustain us as we move forward into the 21st century. After my uncle was assassinated, Aunt Coretta worked tirelessly for many critical social justice reforms, and she led numerous movements for human liberation.
Okay, just turn it over, flip it over to one page. There we go.
Put your finger down a little bit. There you go. No.
Well, that's okay.
Hi, my name is Belinda Porch, and I'm out of Atlanta, Georgia. I'm security for Evelyn and Laurie down this very memorable day. That's it. Cut.
Especially if you're a woman. Really. But we were having a conversation and my mother interrupted us and said, my husband was made a man. And I thought about what she said, because there are very few people who are husband and wife who can testify to the fact that they were what the Bible says.
Yeah.
With them out in the corner.
Sergeant J.D. Williams, Fort County Sheriff's Office. I've been associated with SCLC women for probably 15 years. Been involved in several missions. We've been trying to play our part as providing security for SCLC women to try to assure that these events are going off on a hitch, make sure that the security part of things are taken care of. I think SCLC women, they do a great job as far as organizing things. We've just been able to assist with security and just try to complement what they're already doing.
And where are they located?
SCLC women is located in Atlanta, Georgia, on Auburn Avenue. Got a new center that they just opened, just Crescent, and it should be open probably in the next week or two.
Okay.
Great organization. I've enjoyed it. We'll continue to support it. This is what we do to try to help out in the community as well. This is Deputy Robinson. He's been a member of one of our special operations teams for several years. Together we've got a combination of about 12 units, and we've been working, doing things with SCLC, not only on this tour, but several other tours.
Next minute, I would have been out of the Lord long. So what I did, take come back to work, it's been 8 weeks. And I go down and ride and trip with somebody. Yeah, I'm walking around in that doing truck. Slack corners in there. One of them had a rope. I stepped on that.
Mom, we going to
I kicked it like that. I put me down there.
we get ready to go in the morning. Oh, is that now?
Mm-hmm.
There was a local church in Marion, Alabama. February 1965, meeting was held in that church. That night, the lights went out. People chasing to a nearby cafe. It's nighttime, so there was a man went to the angel. He was shot by a true turn. Let him die. This man died for standing up for what's right. I believe in you soon. I believe in you soon.
My name is Sharon Farley. I am the writer and composer of the music you hear on this documentaries. You can reach me at P.O. Box 142, Tarrant, Alabama, or contact me by email at songbird9@bellsouth.net. My name is Sharon Farley. I am the composer and writer of the music you hear on this documentary. You can reach me at P.O. Box 142, Tarrant, Alabama, or contact me by email songbird9@bellsouth.net.
1965. The lights went out that night. It's nighttime. There was a man. And some nearby cafe. But I believe this man, he knew that, that soon, I believe he knew soon, his number was right, that night. He went to the aid of his mother, shut